What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 7 of the Galar Goodbye Gauntlet. As always, I am Carter Noble, joined by today by none other than one of our fantastic mods. We have Angelo James Pagano with us. What's up, dude?
Doing great. I'm also your social media manager, your professional tweeter, uh, full job, and manager of the currently undefeated Chicago Double Darms. Go
Hell yeah,
Darms!
you are. So,
The vibes are immaculate,
dude,
man.
they are fantastic. I literally could not dream of a better dream team than what we have put together. And by we, I mean mostly you and Jess, and I just kind of hung out and let you all do your thing.
Oh, I mean, completely off topic from what we're doing here, but just a little inside baseball for draft and everything. Just first, shout out Jess, shout out my entire team and my entire front office. Everyone playing a great role there, and it's just, yeah, like, again, immaculate vibes, which is always what we're shooting for here at Little Root Lessons.
I will take full credit for doing basically nothing. I mean, in all actuality, I really haven't done much. It's just, hey, my job has basically just been vibe checking everyone. Just, hey, is everyone doing okay? Cool. I obviously help where I can, but not, it is what it is. It's been really enjoyable. I'm very excited for postseason. We go in with a bye. It's going to be great. And then, 2 more weeks and we take home a trophy. So that's cool.
Another ring.
Yeah. So, getting a little more on topic, what are we doing today?
Today we're playing Series 7/9 in the Galar Goodbye Gauntlet. This is Series 7/9. I'd say this is one of my favorite series of Generation 8. It would be either this series or Series 12. Would be what I would say my favorite. It's for me personally, it's the series that really got me into team building. I remember in Series 7, Aaron and I working really hard on different Mamoswine teams. That's really what got me. That series is when I really got into just knowing how to optimize teams better synergies within Pokemon, specifically within the team building process, building EVing my teams better, really getting super optimal in terms of optimal bulk, making sure on your natures you're hitting your bumps, getting specific calcs in terms of not even just damage calculations, but specific speed calculations. And then Series 9, that was probably my best series laddering-wise. I think I got to 1600 on Showdown in Series 9, which is the highest I've laddered. And this is coming from someone who doesn't ladder often, and when he does, laddering's definitely not my thing. I am a best-of-3 boy. But yeah,
this was also the series where we ran the first Pokepod tour, where
yes,
I went undefeated in the round robin group round, to be promptly knocked out by an opposing Comfey Moltres team from
it was someone from Pokesports.
It was, oh good lord, I
can't remember.
It's gonna beat me up.
I'm not even bothering for it.
I can't remember, and it's gonna bother me.
Literally 2 years ago.
Dude, it feels like way less than that, but it'll be 2 years here next month. Here in a couple weeks, it'll be 2 years, and that's absurd to think. But what's really interesting about this format, it's the first limited decks format of all of Sword and Shield with both DLCs. So it's still not full national decks because obviously we don't have that in the game, but it's also not a restricted format. But it's very cool. I'm a big fan of this format. I think it's very unique. The fact that we got to play it essentially twice is again a first for Sword and Shield. We didn't have anything else where we went back to another series essentially, and then after the Crown Tundra came out, we did it twice. So I'm not saying that the Pokemon Company ran out of ideas, but there was only so much you could do at that point. Like,
I think a lot of it as well, especially during that time, you have to really go back. This series started November of 2020. We still are pretty to the pandemic. Didn't know like vaccines were like just getting approved or about to be approved to be rolled out yet. We didn't know when tournaments were if tournaments were going to be coming back in 21 or if they were, and as we know they didn't. I think hindsight, if the Pokemon Company knew it was going to happen, where pretty much 21 was going to be another completely lost year, I think we would have seen Series 7 be a six. They would have done a Series 7 as a 4 to 6 month series, and then Series 8 to be a 4 to 6 month series instead of doing what they did with like the whole going back of 7 and 9 being the same series, 8 and 11 being the same series, and then of course throwing in the random Series 10. But yeah, like even just going back, what you were saying about this being the first format with the Crown Tundra Pokemon, I think one of the things that came to realize, especially more so in Series 9 than Series 7, was while we don't have all the Pokemon and we don't have all the, of course, you don't have any of the restricted Pokemon, there really weren't many Pokemon competitively that you were really missing in this format. Now, of course, like back into like Series 5, you were still missing all of the other legendary Pokemon, the Genies, the Tapus, Ultra Beasts, and even just some common heavy hitters such as Salamence, Dragonite, and Metagross. And a lot of those Pokemon came back in Series 7 through the Crown Tundra. And at least to my knowledge, for like historically good VGC mons that are always used, outside of Smeargle, there really weren't many, at least recently popular Pokemon. Of course, if we go back to like VGC like 2010 or VGC 2011, something like that, there might be a Pokemon that was like commonly used then that wasn't in any of Galar dexes. But overall, it felt like it was a relatively complete dex. There weren't at least for me, there weren't any Pokemon that were missing where it's like, oh, I wish I had this Pokemon. Everything I really wanted to use was available to me, along with a lot of really great new stuff. This was the first format where we also got some new Pokemon that were very immediately impactful, with Spectre, Glastrier, Regieleki, which honestly is just completely a generational Pokemon.
You have
in terms of how defining it is.
You have the Galar birds as well. You know, we kind of touched on Galarian Moltres, but Articuno and Zapdos, personally, I had a lot of hype for them having access to Defiant and competitive. I thought that they were going to be much better than they ended up being, but you know, I do think ultimately that they did have a place in this format, even if it was just a little more niche than something like Moltres. Like Moltres really was the one that came out that when it started popping off, people were like, all right, you have to pay this thing respect. And it was very good. Obviously, you know, the thing that made Moltres good is people slept on Eleki for the first like month. It wasn't for a while until Eleki really popped up of saying, hey, I can just like Oko anything. Give me a life orb and I can one-shot essentially anything I need to before I even Dynamax.
And going back to the birds, I think the main thought was, or at least our thought process before, because I agree, I remember everyone thought that out of the three birds, Moltres was actually going to be the worst, and that was because we thought that birds were going to get coverage moves from their initial types. The idea of a competitive Psychic Flying Baron Articuno with Ice Beam, which becomes a walking Lando T counter.
Yeah.
All of a sudden becomes a lot worse when it doesn't have that ice coverage. Now, of course, same with but not as much with Zapdos. I mean, I don't think getting Wild Charge would have really changed Zapdos's skill set with the Tapus coming back and having that free weakness, overall just being fighting, flying, and also being a fighting type as well, with Max Airstream just being the most common used attack at the time. It just wasn't great. But Moltres, the Berserk, I think the big thing was outside of Max having the ability to set up a nasty plot or snarl spam, or especially Fiery Wrath being pretty much a better rock slide to have that spread damage with the 30% flinch chance and not have it miss. That alone made it really good, along with it being just a phenomenal weakness policy count holder. I know you mentioned it with Comfy. Aaron and I ran it with Mamoswine, where Mamoswine would be using Ice Shard to proc the policy. And then also having that Berserk boost, it was real easy to get your Moltres to +3 and maybe get like a speed boost or two from Max Air. And once it got those speed boosts and those damage boosts, you can pretty much flinch spam your opponent out of a game. It really did make Moltres very meta-defining until everyone realized that Aleki wasn't just a fast, frail screen setter, but a walking nuke that could not be touched by anything besides a speed tie by another Regieleki.
So, something I actually wanted to touch on. You mentioned when we got this format, there was a lot of, like, essentially all the Pokemon that you want to play in VGC were legal at this point. And I'm just kind of scrolling back through, like, Worlds teams from, like, 2014 forward. And, like, of the Top Cut team, I think there's 2 Pokemon that, like, aren't legal in this format, being,
Smeargle.
Yeah, Smeargle and Pachirisu. Like,
Pachi was more so not like, it was just the result of
the format,
having a specific niche in the format. Now, speaking of Pachi, this isn't leaks unless you haven't watched the trailers yet, but Pachi has been shown in the trailers for Scarlet and Violet, and as of right now, I believe it's the only Pokemon that's been shown to be in the trailer that, unless one of the newer Pokemon that's been shown have Follow Me. Right now, I believe it's the only Follow Me user that has been shown, and I think people now, depending on what other Follow Me users are in the game, like if Indeedee ends up in the game, or like if Togekiss ends up in the game, of course they're going to be used a lot more.
I could have swore I saw Indeedee was in. Like in
I can't remember.
I don't know. I could be completely wrong. And obviously, we get new Pokemon involved in everything as well. Movesets get completely reworked as well. You might see more Rage Powder Pokemon pop up. Just a lot of things that could really, really showcase. But yeah, just looking through this from like 2014 forward, every Pokemon that's Top Cut Worlds outside of Smeargle and Pachirisu are legal in this format. Obviously outside of Restricteds, but
and then all the restricted were in the expansion as well. Like the den, like everything is there, and I think that's like why. Dexit is a very controversial thing with the DLCs, and especially the Crown Tundra. I think they did a really good job grabbing the Pokemon, at least for when building a competitive game, the Pokemon that mattered, and like the Pokemon missing, and maybe some of the Pokemon that were missing will end up in different formats. Maybe some of those Pokemon that were missing that end up in Scarlet and Violet become, at least for like the first round, like more regional decks of Gen 9, become very commonly used Pokemon, and like we get like a new Pachirisu, so to speak. But the old reliable, so to say, were all added back, and then the new Pokemon they added were in most cases just as powerful, and in Regieleki's case, just, oh my god, just so much better.
Yeah, the
it really just blows my mind how good it is.
The addition of the horses and Eleki were really defining. Like being the new Pokemon that are new that no one has ever played with. People really caught on very quickly that Spectre is very good. It can be a very good offensive threat. It has a very good support role. It can do like things along those sides. Glastrier kind of immediately as well just went like, hey, I'm one of the best Trick Room sweepers in the format now. Like, do that. And, like, that's very acceptable. Like, Regidrago was also added. It's bad.
Okay. I'm not going to say it's not bad.
It's just
but
not
for a Max
good.
format. I think it was especially like Glastrier especially was made with the thought of Dynamax in mind.
Hmm.
Glastrier is a really strong Dynamax Pokemon. What we've seen in a little less in Series 10 because Cali Ice was available in Series 10, so you really weren't using Glastrier. But with at this time in day, people are playing Spike Muth format, which is pretty much the format that we're playing right now, or we're about to play, but without Dynamax. And you really even aren't seeing Glastrier there because it's even though it's a really, really strong Trick Room sweeper, without that Dynamax to add the extra oomph to its moves and to double its HP, it really isn't as good in those non-max formats. On the other side, I feel like Regidrago is actually a pretty good Pokemon, especially a great Scarf user in those non-max formats, depending on how many Fairy types are around. Because Dragon Energy, being like Dragon type Eruption, is able to put out a massive amount of damage and a massive amount of spread damage really quickly. And if you don't have that Fairy to check it, or even a faster Pokemon, Cough, Regieleki Cough, to at least do some damage to it to mitigate the damage output, to lower the Dragon Energy damage output, it can run through teams that are not fully prepared. So if we ever get to the new Regis or some of these Pokemon in like future generations, like if they end up somehow in Scarlet and Violet, like in their DLC, maybe we'll see more Regidrago than like the horses. But for Gen 8 with Dynamax, not great. Not
Yeah,
great.
it's really cool, except it's not. So like, I don't know. Massive HP stat is not something that people are like overly concerned about. When you have okay bulk, but like, I don't know. It just, there's a lot of things that make Eliki vastly superior to Drago in every way. And
It's a speed stat.
yeah, like being able to outspeed literally everything and then some, like, it is absurd. Like, there's Pokemon under Tailwind that don't outspeed Eliki. Like,
Oh, really? There are a lot of Pokemon that don't, and it did end up becoming a very meta defining Pokemon. I remember early in the format, one of the first teams I built was with a screens Eliki,
mm-hmm.
and it just didn't feel like it was putting its weight in, and I ended up dropping it from the team. Looking back at it, like I remember I was looking for a Celesteela counter, and I ended up running Cinderace, and I'm
That's
looking back
close.
at it. I'm looking back, and I'm like, wow, I had the Celesteela counter on my team. I was just running it wrong, but so was everyone else. I think even memory might be off on me. Pretty sure even Wolf Glick on his team that he played to qualify for Players Cup 3, which was the qualifiers for Players Cup 3,
Mm-hmm.
were played in Series 7. I believe he even used a Screens Eliki.
And yeah, that's its primary role there for a little bit. Like, you saw less Grimstar, more Eliki as like your primary screen setter, because that's all you needed it to do. Is it set Reflect, it took a hit, it set Light Screen, it died. Like, that was its role. And
The
then
damage was extra.
yeah, there was just this like really, really weird shift of, hey, we can do way more with this. And like
Like, hey,
that's something
Transistor's really good.
that has changed, like looking from like the role that Elki had in Series 7 to the role that it had in Series 12 is absurd. The fact that it's just like, well, I'm going to set screens, or in Series 12, it's like, I'm going to be physical, I'm going to run Bounce so I can actually have more speed control, but also run Electro Web so I can like have extra speed control this way, while also being able to maintain offensive pressure by wild charging my opponent. It's just like, the difference between these two things is absurd when we're talking about the same Pokemon.
It is like initially we saw it as a great like play holder, and not even you were just mentioning the physical Regieleki, but Shilleliki was also very common, both as a max target and a non-max target. You could run Banded, Specs, Magnet, Sash. There were so many items
Life
that the
Orb,
Pokemon could
yeah,
hold. Life Orb.
I
There were
know Aaron messed around with Swagger Lumberry for a hot minute. Because you can't really run weakness policy on it. Its only weakness is ground. And like you don't want to bulldoze next to it because like that's the thing it's trying to do is outspeed everything. And you can't earthquake next to it because it'll just die.
Remember when actually it was around, this was more so going into Series 9. Remember when Aaron said physical Elekey's actually good, guys?
Yes,
and
yes.
You, Carl, and I were like, no,
like
it's
Aaron,
not Aaron.
What are you doing, buddy?
And then like 3 weeks later, it was like the featured team on Cybertron, and it actually was really good.
It was like, oh,
this
hey.
was also, again, going with Aaron's team building, he was also playing like Blastoise in early Series 7, partially because Elekey wasn't as popular, but like Blastoise ended up being a very popular Pokemon in Series 8, 9, and 11. And that was another Pokemon that no one's really playing around this point. With that being said, that was also just this series in general. One of the things I've really enjoyed with it, I know we're pulling teams from like Victory Road or other, or like people are using like teams for nostalgia, but I can even see just watching the videos and the gameplay that people are doing, we're still applying what we've learned in the later series, and whether it's move sets, decisions on who's going to max, and so on and so forth. Like, I was to play, like, looking at this now, it's like if I had Naleki on this team, I might, I don't know. You're going to find out soon. YouTube viewers, you're all going to find out. But it wouldn't be a light clay version. It would be like a Series 12 version of Regieleki. And I think one of the nice things with like the Goodbye Galar is to not only showcase and go through these great formats that we've been playing over the last 2 years, 3 years actually, close to, but also going through the growth of just the entire channel as players and our content and just how we've grown and how the format's grown. Overall, like this is Gen 8 is what started this entire brand that we're all now a part of. And I think going back and revisiting these series is really great to just show how much everyone in the community has learned as players and like how we've all grown from when we first joined the community, whether it was back in like 2019, 2020, to now. And it's just been a really great experience.
Well, I think it's about time we get to the actual games. We've been going now for much longer than I anticipated.
Love you, Carl. You're going to do a great job editing this.
But yeah, this is going to be really enjoyable. Series 7 is great. I'm very excited for this, and unless you have anything else to say, I'm ready to get to it.
Yeah, let's go. Let's grind.
Cool. Good luck. Have fun.
You too.
Okay. So as we're getting paired up here for the match, kind of want to just talk about like what we're playing today. This is, I believe, Carl's team that he like built and played back in the day. This is Weezing Gigas Cole. So like just all over the place. It has like every piece of tech you could possibly think of. We have Water Urshifu to be able to proc our Cole if we need to. Safety Goggles on Dragapult so we can we prevent redirection like Spore. Like Rillaboom is obviously very powerful here. And like of course we have Gigas as well, which is just absolutely absurd. The fact that like they made this thing be able to be compatible with Weezing is just insane. And this is like the first time we actually get to see it. So let's see. To the surprise of no one, Angelo has a Mammo on his team. He's doing the Nut Core thing here with Nihilego and Urshifu, Thundy. I honestly think that Cole looks really, really appealing in the event that he doesn't have Sucker Punch on his Urshifu. What's the chances that this is Waterfu? Probably slim to none. I do think Weezing Cole is... I think, like... Gigas Cole could be real... Like, Gigas Weezing could be really appealing here. I also think Dragapult Colt is very good. Urshifu to be able to just, like, ignore... Urshifu's really good here. We get to do a lot of damage to a lot of everything. So the question is like, what do we want? I think I kind of like the idea of like Weezing plus Dragapult with Colt Urshifu in the back. I'm not a huge fan of Urshifu here. I just don't think it really does anything we want. And like disabling his abilities I think is going to be fairly important here. While like our abilities don't really matter. Like if he leads in a position where Cole's able to do its thing, I can pivot appropriately. And if he leads to where like Urshifu just takes over the game, I can. So yeah, I think this is good. I think going in on Cole here is good. It's just it's just like getting into a position where we can do so. Mimikyu as a lead. Okay. Pretty okay with this as a lead. So we can... I like the idea of going for Will-O-Wisp into the Mamo. I kind of want to just protect. Yeah, let's do that. Could be trying to set up a Trick Room here. Let's just see. Okay, Mamo also protects. This looks like a Trick Room going up. I am going to reveal my Will-O-Wisp, but that's pretty okay. Oh, Safeguard. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So now I can go for... I can like Sludge Bomb the Mimikyu, swap out here into Urshifu. And then, depending on that, we can figure things out. So, Disguise, I believe, still works through neutralizing gas. This is not an interaction I'm, like, very familiar with. Like, we haven't really revealed anything. Is this a big Mamo? Sure. Love it. I'm gonna let him do his early game stuff here. This could be Quake into my Weezing, which I'm pretty okay with if that's the case. Okay, there's a Shadow Sneak. Into Urshifu. There is a Quake. Also into Urshifu. Not enough to take me out. That's the important part. Getting a special defense boost here doesn't really matter. And there goes Disguise. Okay. So having Rapid Strike here is very good for us. The fact that we're able to like break through Disguise with it is going to be very useful. I think I just want to Sludge Bomb the Mimikyu again. I'm only going to get one attack off here with the Urshifu. I could just go for close combat. I want to do Searching Strikes. That's what we really came here for. This shouldn't be enough to KO me. Nah, not even close. That's a lot of damage. It's a lot of freaking damage. This is going to be Hailstorm, presumably into Urshifu. No, it's going to be into Weezing once again. Okay. Well, I say once again. You know, whatever. But here's a Sludge Bomb. Take your hit. I think the damage we did with with breaking its decoy is more damage. I think I'm actually fine letting Weezing go down here. The problem is I'm also losing Urshifu. I think this is kind of fine. Like, this is his last turn of Dynamax. He should probably just Quake. And, like, I get to hide the information that I'm Scarf on my Urshifu as well. Because he went for priority with his Mimikyu. And now, like, his stuff is done. His Dynamax is over. I really need Dragapult to be able to live a Shadow Sneak, and I'm not sure if it's going to be able to. But if it can, we're in a really good position. So let's find out together. Mamo's not Life Orb, which is very interesting. I think targeting down the Mamoswine is correct here. Like, it can put on a lot of pressure against my Cole. I'm not really a fan of that. I just really need to be able to live a Shadow Sneak, and I'm not sure if I do. Oh, let alone Ice Shard plus Shadow Sneak. Yeah, there's no way I live this. Man, had I just protected there, we're in a really good position. Oh, hold on. Oh, that was even a crit. And we actually take Mamo out. Hold on. Hold on now. Had I gone for Sun, I actually hold on to my Dragapult as well. But, like, setting rocks here is really important. I'm gonna get a double KO. We crit the Mimikyu. This is really interesting all of a sudden. This game just got really interesting. The fact that I live there is absurd. Oh, and I'm Goggles! Oh, I forgot I'm Goggles! I live through hail! Oh, this is absurd. Come on, Angelo. Let me have this. I need this. Don't be Dark Urshifu. Oh, actually? I mean, I can Max Flare plus Breaking Swipe. Max Flare the Urshifu. I mean, we're in this. We are definitely in this. If we take out the Urshifu, we can win this. And even if he's Scarf, Cole should still outspeed him because I have Steam Engine activated. Oh yeah, I live if he Sucker Punches. Oh yeah. I am going to reveal Breaking Swipe, which is unfortunate. But I think Cole just won us this game. That's a lot of damage, too. Okay. I need to stop with all these crits. This is kind of absurd. Is this just Parting Shot, or are we going to try to KO my... Yeah, okay. It's going to take, like, 2 points of recoil. But I have Vocalith to take this out. He also takes Vocalith chip here. Yeah, there's 0% chance I lose this game. Even if he has, like, Protect or something, I have Earth Power to be able to knock him out. He takes Vocalith chip as well. Yeah, this is a GG. Yep. Man, did not think we were gonna win that one, based on how that start went. But Cole, very, very useful. Who knew? Maybe we just go hard on Cole on turn 1. Like, what is his answer to that? Just maxing... if he maxes his Mammo into that, I feel like I lose. Interesting. What does Gigas do for us? I could lead, like, Urshifu. Urshifu Weezing's interesting as a lead. It's essentially the same lead we just had. I think I like this. I think going in on Cole in the end game is really important. Like, regardless of what he leads, I kind of just get to pressure him. If he leads Mimikyu to try to safeguard, I can just punch it. And then, like, burn whatever. Yeah, I think this is a good lead. I think I like our game plan here. Angelo said beforehand, he's like, oh, you got the team from Carl, that means there's going to be Gigas things. I'm just like, I don't know. I think I really like this lead from us. What if he's Mental Herb on Mimikyu? Does that do anything? I'm going to reveal the taunt, and I'm going to go for... If he just makes the same play he did last game, I can swap out... Go into... Problem is Dragon Ball doesn't do anything on this field. I think this is just taunt the Mimikyu plus Surging Strikes it. I think just doubling into Mimikyu is correct. Okay, he's going to withdraw Mammo. That's good for us. He's going to bring out his own Urshifu. Okay, Surging Strikes is going to break the decoy. Question is after that, do we KO? Probably not. Yeah, nowhere near it. Good damage. We do bring him under half. Get our taunt up. Show me not Mental Herb. Okay, he is Mental Herb, so Safeguard going up. That's fine. Completely fine. So now I can Sludge Bomb the Urshifu. Good Surging Strikes again. Like, he can't really Sucker Punch my... I'm going to protect my Weezing here. I think I'm going to Surging Strikes into Mimikyu again. I think just knocking that thing out is going to be really important for us. It protects Dragapult in the end game. And, like... Water Urshifu lines up better against Dark Urshifu because I resist his other stab, while also being able to pressure him with mine. Okay, no swaps. No other protects as well, so we are going to get to pick up the Mimikyu here. Safeguard is annoying, but not the end of the world. I think we actually need all three. Yep. So if we go to a game 3 here. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Neutralizing Gas removes Unseen Fist. So we're able to do that. That's awesome for us. Nihilago's gonna come out. Well... I mean, I think we just start getting down to the Urshifu here. I could max Urshifu. Go for a max Flutterby. Nihilago's super physically defensive, right? It's been so long since I've seen one, I genuinely don't remember. 47. Oh, it's super frail defensively. Yeah, this is just a KO here. Urshifu should just run away with this game. Yeah, absolutely. Now we get to break a potential sash on his Urshifu here. Are we choice locked, or are we just going for Wicked Blow here? Well, that's the perks of being resistant. I can ignore him, basically. It's a lot of freaking damage off of a Sludge Bomb. How many more turns of Safeguard are there? 2. So I can protect this turn, which allows me to Surging Strikes down the Urshifu. And then that turns this into a 1v4. Should be maxing Mamo here. Could see a Protect come out from it, which if that's the case, I'm fine. Could also be a max Hailstorm into my Urshifu to clear it. Like, if that's his play, I just go Dragapult and I Breaking Swipe. We get the free KO. I think removing his second Pokemon here is better than just doing like half to his Mamo. Like, making this a 1v4 I think is better than like potentially a like 3v2. It's like a Quake into Urshifu. Okay. Which does not hold on. We go down. That's fine. We haven't really seen any items from his team. I'm assuming this is Sash on the Mamo, but like honestly, I can't really tell you. So now we will go for Sludge Bomb, just do some chip. Go for a Breaking Swipe, just do some chip. Get that speed drop, get that attack drop, which is going to be fairly important, I think. Mamo is in fact slower than, Weezing is in fact slower than Mamo. This is not going to put us down to Sash since he's at -1. Get that special defense boost, not really going to matter. Poison? Oh, he has Safeguard up. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I will Protect one more time. Go for another Breaking Swipe. Put him to -2. Quake may not even be enough to take out my Weezing behind Protect at -2. Which, if that's the case, we're just golden. Yep, it is just another Quake. I feel like this game is basically wrapped up. Yeah, perfect. Like, our goal with Weezing is just irritate him as much as possible at this point. Make him use another, like, attack to take me out. Ice Shard is probably enough to take me out at this range. Yeah, okay. If not, that was going to be embarrassing. It's really good damage. And now I get to bring out Cole and drop a Meteor Beam on him. And by Meteor Beam, I mean Vocalith. honestly, I may not even need Vocalith. Surf is probably enough here. But obviously we had to go for it. I might knock out... I had the Dynamax. I might knock out my own Cole. Guys, this Colossal Pokemon might be good. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. There might be something to this Colossal Pokemon. Dang. +3 special defense, too good. I just like the animations. And now we make Mamoswine very, very sad. This is a fun match. Mamoswine was a real big threat in all actuality. The fact that the Dragapult was able to live the double up in game 1 is really good. I completely forgot about Ice Shard. Obviously, Shadow Sneak had been revealed, but did not even think about Ice Shard for half a second. And then as soon as it came out, I'm like, oh, we're dead. But yeah, we got there. Let's get back into this post game. Well, what do you think, man?
Not great. Game 2, I definitely lost on lead. I just the whole thing, especially with Weezing being present and with the ability for you to also just lead Dragapult, Cole. I really never thought of bringing Thundy, and me not bringing Thundy ended up leading to your Urshifu, which I figured was Choice, but didn't figure out was Choice Scarf until the middle of game 2.
Yeah.
When you O-code my Nihilego before it was able to move.
Were you choice banned on your Urshifu?
I was choice banned on Urshifu. Yeah, so Urshifu was choice banned. And my Sash was on...
Mamo?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the other thing I was trying to figure out. Where was your Sash? Because
Weezing.
I thought it was your... Never would have thought... I was just about to say it had to have been Weezing going through it.
Uh-huh.
Because initially, game 1, I was like... initially, I thought your... Going into the game, I thought, okay, Sash, Dragapult, and Choice, Waterfu.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I saw you were Goggles Dragapult, I thought, okay, the Sash is on the Urshifu.
And then game 2 happened.
Yeah, and because I thought that, I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure Weezing's either going to be like usually would be Black Sludge or Shucka. And that's what I was thinking with the Weezing. I was not thinking Sash Weezing. But yeah, no, it was...
Shuka would have been revealed game 1, right? You quaked into it?
No, I never...
you hailstormed into it. That's right.
Yeah, I max iced into it, assuming that you were... Shuka.
Sash. Oh, got it.
And also covering, I think at that point... Because I was also covering, like, if you wanted to do a switch in... to switch, for some reason, if you wanted to switch your Dragapult back in, I wanted at least cover that potential switch. I assumed, I'm looking at it now, I assume that Cole would have been the other Pokemon, but I never thought you would switch in Cole. But that really led for game 2, a very, very weird game 1 where I didn't want to T1 max my Mamoswine, because I think the earlier max of Mamoswine is kind of what killed me. I didn't get that one last turn of Dynamax to try to take out the Cole. I think the other thing as well for game 1 specifically, Incin really was more so covering for Rillaboom and post Weezing Gigas. In the grand scheme of things, it really didn't play in as well.
I agree. The fact that Incin doesn't really do anything in the matchup to Gigas specifically, because I have neutralizing gas up. Cole is obviously special in this matchup, so you're not doing anything there. You could go for parting shots, but at the same time you just get one shot if I max. And obviously Urshifu ignores it and bodies it completely. So it literally is just Rillaboom, which you also have Thundy and Nihilego for.
Yeah, I think I really Nihilego in the grand scheme of things isn't even that great into Rillaboom.
Yeah.
I use a lot of Nihilego back in Series 7 and a bit in Series 9, Series 9, the double Ultra Beast team with Nihilego Celesteela was a very popular team back in Series 9, not so much Series 7. More so for me, like, you're using Nihilego, sure, you have that it's neutral with Grassy Glide. However, your defensive stat is so low that Grassy Glide is still either chunking you or, in some cases, depending on how much investment the Rillaboom has, actually OHKOing you.
I knew that one of Nihilego's defenses was absurdly high. I couldn't remember which one.
Defense.
Yes, I had to actually go look it up. I'm just like, I can't remember, so I need to know like what I need to target down here, because like this Urshifu's a big threat. I probably two-shot it, like I probably one-shot it with Surging Strikes, but like if this Nihilego, if I don't one-shot it, like I can't target into it this turn.
My thought process for game 2 was, especially once Sand is up, Sand adding that +1, it would have also helped your Cole, but I would have been able to hit super effective with Max Rock, and I was hoping to have Nihilego to go mano-a-mano with your Cole. It's just that actually, what was the coverage move on your Colossal? Were you running Solar Beam or... Yeah, so that in the grand scheme, I mean, you would have been hitting it for ×4 to my ×2. I would have had the stab bonus, but still, you would have been hitting me for a lot more damage.
Yeah, especially being +2.
Yeah, no, it was definitely game 2 was definitely like I lost on lead. Positives, for those of you who follow the brand and are in the Discord or follow me on Twitter. At VGC at LR Lessons. Give us a follow.
We're not to the part where you can plug your stuff yet, Angelo.
But anyways, it's like Mamoswine and Mimikyu are my two favorite Pokemon. And for the last Pokemon I will ever Dynamax, until 4 years down the line we become absolute sickos who want to play this format for nostalgia. When we're 30, playing a children's game still way too competitively. This is probably the last time I Dynamaxed a Pokemon, and my last Dynamax being a Mamoswine is I'll take that as my win. My heart, it feels good there. So you know what? Who really had the win there? I have this great emotional moment.
Scoreboard.
I'm very happy that you know what? If it wasn't for you being too busy this week, I would have just benched you after this.
That's fair.
But overall, no, it was really great. It's seeing this dual core team. It wasn't super popular in either series, but it was something that a lot of people practiced with. Having one of the nice parts of Series 7 and Series 9 that you really didn't see in 2022 VGC with Series 12 were those two Pokemon microcores, the Gigasweezing microcore, like your Dragapult Cole microcore, that, as you saw with this game, we were able to mix and match and put them together, but like there were teams where you could drop Gigasweezing on another team and you could have that mode, or that Dragapult Cole, and still do other things. We mentioned Wolf Glick opening the video. We're going to mention him again. One of the parts with his Players' Cup winning team, that was in this format, was the fact that not only could you do that Cole mode, but between Rillaboom, Dragapult, Waterfoo, he used Moltres G as his flying type. You could probably bring 4 of those 5 Pokemon, leave the Cole at home, and you're going to still have, like, if you bring, like if you went and brought your Water Fire Grass of Instant Boom, Waterfoo with Moltres as your max, it's a really, really strong quartet going into any sort of team comp.
And that's something that I had a big problem with a lot of the Colossal teams that were like popping up when they first started. They were hyper focused on doing exactly Colossal things. The teams that, like, if Colossal got shut down, the rest of the team just fell apart, were the problems I had with Cole. The the Wolf Glick team, and like this one too, where like you're able to do things outside of Cole, I think is very, very important for this strategy to properly work.
And even with cores, I mean, as you saw with me, the team I ran was Nut, which was very popular in the start of the meta. So this team is actually based on, it was, I believe, a Japanese ladder team that was, like, I think, like, made top 10 ladder the last month of Series 7. And I also, like, along with Ammo Swine and Mimikyu, one of my favorite legendaries is Thunderous. And one of my favorite Ultra Beasts is Nihilego. So those are other two Pokemon that I also really wanted to use. Didn't get to show either of them off in this matchup, but they were there in spirit.
Hey, Nihilego got to do its thing. It died.
It died, yeah. Nihilego, and the thing is, it's like, it is very sad because of its low physical bulk. When this probably, when I'm looking at it as well, like hindsight, it probably wasn't an amazing matchup for it overall, but it definitely is a Pokemon where when it does do its thing, when it gets rolling, when it gets its beast boosts, it really can run through teams. It's a really cool Pokemon. I know that right now in Series 13, it's getting a lot of usage again because of its ability. Once it gets that first KO, especially with its speed stat, it has a really good speed stat. You're going and picking up those KOs. Overall, with not what the mode of the team that is the actual mode that I didn't use or didn't get to showcase is those Thunderous, Nihilego, Thunderous, Urshifu modes where you just keep on clicking Max Air and the other Pokemon next to it. Whether it's Urshifu or Nihilego, they can both do so much damage outside of Max, whether it's your banded Sucker Punches, banded Wicked Blows, or the Meteor Beam coming off of a Power Herb going into whether it's a Sludge Bomb or a Power Gem, depending on how much, either at +1 or +2, you're able to put out a lot of damage and a lot of immediate offensive pressure. But overall, it was really nice that you can just revisit in the grand scheme of things. I feel like we're able to show off 3 different cores. 2 of the 3 really weren't showing all too much, but it was like a nice overall taste of this meta. And again, there were so many teams. This was a very, very great meta in terms, at least especially earlier on. There were a lot of different team compositions, a lot of, whether it was, as we were saying, these micro cores, be either on their own or put together. Then there were bigger cores such as Fig 2, which was your Tapu Fini, Incin, Glastrier, Porygon 2, your slow mode there. Again, that double Ultra Beast core I was talking about earlier with Nihilego, Celesteela. You had Garchomp teams, or it would be like Garchomp, whether it would be Tapu Koko or Tapu Fini, and then Celesteela, the 3 of that making a really strong fantasy core to back your teams, and as well as certain other, like, out of the blue Pokemon such as Blastoise doing well later in the format, or even Regirock and Registeel, especially Registeel late Series 9. Pokemon that would just bulk up with Amnesia and Iron Defense and would just be one absolute hell of a body presser that could really stall games out and win games 1v3, 1v4, even depending on how much chip was on your opponent's Pokemon. This overall, I think that out of all the formats outside of Series 12, which got the full, or as full of a consistent cycle, I feel like Series 7 and /9 got the most development, and we saw that meta growth and all of those changes, and a lot of those changes not even just affecting the tail end of Series 9, but also affecting how we played specific Pokemon in the future series.
I am curious, did you have Trick Room on Mimikyu or Nihilego?
I had it on Mimikyu. There were a few points where I was thinking maybe I should go Trick Room. I really wanted the Safeguard because did your Dragapult have Will-O-Wisp?
No.
Okay.
My last slot was Light Screen.
Okay, because I knew that some of these Dragapult would run Will-O-Wisp, and I also know that your Weezing ran Will-O-Wisp. I felt that getting that safeguard up was really important for me.
I agree.
And then, especially game 2, I was already in position, and where I was like really on the back foot, and I wasn't really 100% sure. I know that, so the turn that you knocked out my Mimikyu in game 2, I was actually going for a Will-O-Wisp on your Urshifu to try to mitigate that damage output.
Gotcha.
Hoping that you would target down my Urshifu instead of finish off the Mimikyu with Urshifu, but that didn't work out that well.
The thought process there was, my Urshifu isn't threatened by yours, so I can ignore it.
Yeah, it's not. that is the thing with Urshifu. Both are insanely good, and I think as well, like we saw early on in again meta growth as well. Early on in Series 7, like it was pretty much almost universally agreed upon that outside of cold teams, Dark Fu was better than Water Fu, and it really wasn't until like Series 9 really where you started seeing Water Fu used standalone outside of these cold teams, to the point where it towards the end of it, and then in other formats, Water Fu was like the Urshifu to use. When you're looking at Spike Month right now, a lot of people are running Water Fu. Partially that's because of the fact that along with Rillaboom and Incineroar, it makes a really, really strong Water Fire Grass trio. But just the general fact that Surging Strikes off of a Scarfed Urshifu, off of Scarf Water Fu, or even Banded Water Fu, even Mystic Water, does so much damage, and you're able to break these sashes, and just the water type damage output is a lot better than the dark type damage output. Along with the fact that in the mirror where the person is using the other Urshifu, when you were scarfed, so you at least your attack, your signature move would be neutral into mine. Or if you weren't scarfed, you could have even used close combat into my Urshifu for super effective damage, where I need to close combat to just get neutral damage into you, which
doesn't feel great.
Not being the case. No, it really doesn't, especially when you aren't sashed, when you're banded.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really fun match. I always loved playing you, even though we've been friends for 2.5 years or so. It's very weird. We very rarely play against each other. I think this is probably like the only
the second or third time we've played. I think.
I think we've done a little more.
It's not a lot. I know that much.
No, it really hasn't been, which is a little weird to say, but yeah, it was really nice, and it was like a nice last hurrah overall from me for this generation. This is the generation that really made me overall fall in love with Pokemon again. I'd say from OROS through Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I would get the games, I would play through to the Elite Four. In certain cases, like specifically Sun, it took me Sun and Moon. It actually took me 2 playthroughs to actually finish the game.
Yeah.
It was so slow. After I beat the Elite Four, I would put the game down. I knew of VGC. I never really did anything with it though. It was the idea of building my own team was apparently like too intimidating to me, and it wasn't really until finding this podcast, and of course, sadly with the pandemic occurring, I did have the time to actually start investing in it, joining this community, and this has been really the generation and the game I've played the most since like playing like Diamond and Pearl or Black and White as a kid, when you just played around because that was the video game that you had, and it, like you know the nostalgic wonder of youth, so to speak, or like that where you always just play it. But yeah, this generation is really important to me. I know that Gen 8 gets a lot of flack, whether it's Dexit, whether it's trees, whether it's people not really liking the DLC or the story or anything, but Sword and Shield are games I do really, really love, because of it reignited my love for Pokemon, for it reigniting a passion of playing competitive Pokemon. Before me going back to VGC, when I was a kid, I used to play TCG competitively pretty much all throughout the Diamond and Pearl and Platinum era and Heart Gold Soul Silver era of the of the TCG, but like it was going to regionals at Secaucus this past year. It's my first competitive Pokemon event in 11 years, and like being back there doing something I really used to love in a different manner. But it's like all of that is because of this generation and this network, this podcast that really you and Carl have put together, that I'm just very happy to be, in the grand scheme of things, a minute cog of. And for that, I say that thank you so much for,
of course, dude, of course,
all of this. It's people who have been around me more, they know that they must have, like, you expected this, me just to get all sentimental.
Yeah, of course. I think this is a perfect place to call it a night.
It is.
My throat is already starting to lose it already. I have been recording
no.
all day to make up for a week and a half off, essentially. And I'm getting ready to take another week and a half off, so like I had a bunch of stuff I had to get caught up, but I think this is going to be it for today. Before we go, of course, I want the opportunity for you to plug your stuff. Where can people find you? All that good stuff on the internet.
Already said it, but you can find me at LR Lessons. I make great tweets there. I tweet out our videos and tweet about tournaments that we're having. It's a fun time. Can't wait. It's going to be super, super busy when Gen 9 comes out. We have a lot of amazing stuff planned, so if you really want to keep watching the Twitter. And if you want to hear my personal thoughts about VGC and just Pokemon in general, you can follow me at RoVGC. Go to Little Lessons, join the Discord. I'm always there.
I can confirm he is always on there harassing someone.
You know, you beat me, so I'm giving you that.
I'll take it. I think that's going to be it. With Angelo just dumbfounded for half a second, I think that's a perfect time to call it a day. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go follow Angel on his socials and all that stuff. And we will see you next time. Have a good one. Peace.